Hello, uniquely creative people, and welcome to my channel. My name is Sherry Turquoise, and sorry about not doing the other two live streams, the afternoon one, and well, technically this is the evening one, but it's also extremely close to my nighttime live stream that I normally do on Friday nights. So I'm just going to combine the two together. So this live stream will be roughly 3 hours, maybe even 4 hours long. Something came up for the afternoon one, and I couldn't do it. More so, I wasn't feeling well, kind of thing. So tonight I am going to be working on the last few chapters I need to edit. Now I know I'm approaching the longer chapters and the deleted chapters because they're original and the original point of view. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, roughly 7.5 chapters to go. I'm just finishing up the chapter that I didn't get finished earlier today. And then tomorrow will be all day reading for beta reading. And I'm hoping sometime next week I can actually start outlining or finish outlining book 2 of the Spirit Dragon series and then get cracking on the writing section. Because I want to be able to write 25,000 words by the end of March. Give or take. So I will just give this a minute. So I'm not seeing any new comments. So we are just going to hop right into a sprint. And the first go round for a warm up, we'll do 15 minutes and we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Happy creativity, everyone! And that was time for our first sprint. How did everyone do? I almost got the chapter fully edited. I'm just using Grammarly for a quick grammar check. I think I got most of it. And Saber says, give me a few and I'll join. I'm taking care of a few things and getting ready to join. Laugh out loud. Do you mean like join the chats or did you want to join as a co-host? Because I can send you an invite if you like. Actually, I think I'll do that right now. I'm not entirely too sure what you're talking about. And then so my next question is, do you start working on your next book in the series before you publish the previous one, or do you wait until after the book is published? Oh, was I need to add just a little bit more to that. Here we go. And the reason why I'm asking this because some authors will actually publish the first book or the first book and then work on book two, while other authors will work on book one and then when the book is sent off like editors or beta readers, they'll start working on book two and then go from there. I'm actually currently working on book two. I've started the outlining process for it. I don't really take any breaks except for currently right now. So I'm currently while working on book one, I am also working on book two. And the reason why I do this so that way the book is still fresh in my brain cells. However, with some series I might not do this, but do this because it will all depend on how the previous book ends. For an example, there is a time gap between the first one and the second one where it's not that big of a deal. I start working on the second book of the Spirit Dragon series versus the Life of the Supernatural series. That's a little bit different story. I might not actually work on book two right away. No, I cannot say that was that series. I might actually start work on book two as soon as I get book one done. It all depends on whose point of view I am doing for book 2 for that one. And for the Immortal Creature series, it will all depend on how I end that one. I honestly don't know how I'm going to end that one quite yet for that book. And we have a co-host. Welcome, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello everybody. My name is Zebra Millsap. I'm kidding, it's Saber Millsap. But I am an urban fantasy writer and I'm a blogger, I'm a YouTuber, and today I'm gonna be working on my urban fantasy novel, which is a 6-book series called The Plague Wolf. I am currently drafting book 1.
Cool. So here's a question for you, Saber. I'm not too sure if you noticed this question. Do you start working on your next book in the series before you publish the previous one, or do you wait until after the book is published? For your second book in this case.
Well, currently, right now, I'm working on the first book in the series because I'm rewriting it and all that. But I honestly, I don't know. But if I did publish it, I feel like I would want to publish the first book. Like, I would still work on the second book while getting the first one published.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, no, I understand. I was just curious what your writing style process was that.
I didn't hear your answer, so would you want to? I don't know, what's your writing process?
uh,
Wow, I'm so awkward.
to shorten the long answer, it would depend on how the book ends. For the Spirit Dragon series, I'm currently outlining book 2 because of how book 1 ends. Because there's a big enough time gap that it's not that big of a deal. The Life of the Supernatural series, I might have to wait until I publish book 1, then work on book 2. It all depends on whose point of view I do next. And the Immortal Creature series, it will all depend on how I end that book, because I haven't quite figured that one out yet. I have about 3 different endings on that one. 2 of them I have to wait until the book is published. Well, 1 I can do right after the book is written.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that, and it was like, because I talked to my mom about it several times, and I told her if I'm doing it, I want to do it like publish my first book, get it written, edited, and all that, uh, publish it, and then start working on my second book while I'm in the process of publishing the first one. Because honestly, I really want to crank out this series and make it the best that I can so I can have an actual series that is like somewhat good quality. But I know
Yeah.
it's gonna suck at first writing it, but I'm hoping to find some editors and stuff like that, and maybe a cover design, because I noticed cover designs can be really expensive.
Have you checked out Mandy Lynn? She does cover designs.
No, I haven't. I haven't really talked to Mandy. Um, I talk to her occasionally, but I know she's busy and everything. It's not like I don't have a problem with her or anything. I love talking to Mandy. I never asked her about her cover design business. I don't know if it's on her website or not.
Yeah, it is. Last I checked, the price was $199 US.
That's still kind of expensive for me.
Actually, that's cheap. That's actually one of the cheaper ends. Because cover designs can anywhere start from $300 to a couple $1,000, depending on who you're dealing with. especially if they combine format in.
Yeah, but it's just kind of hard because because I'm on a fixed income because of
Yeah, no, I
I'm not
get
afraid
it.
to say it. I'm not afraid to say it, but I am on like disability because of my mental health issues. But it's kind of hard to pay that price because I'm on a fixed income. So that's why I say it's kind of expensive, but at the same time, it's not. Like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's not easy being on a tight budget. Tight budget with a fixed income.
Because I noticed in the publishing or even the writing or anything community, it takes a lot to publish a book. Even I say most of it self-publishing because you're paying out most of the money to self-publish a book. I feel like with traditional, I feel like they would kind of help you out a little bit. I mean, if you signed a contract or something, I feel like they would help you, but there's like a slight chance of actually getting a published house behind you.
If and from what I understand from the publishing house is that they cover the cover design, the format, and all the editors. They will do some of the marketing if you had a nice publishing house, but they expect the author to pinch in on the marketing section. I mean, because they're not going to do all the marketing. They expect the author to do it, and that's not
Right.
always cheap either.
Sorry, my voice is a little raspy.
Well, that's okay. Rainey says I'm planning to write all my books, then start revising and publishing one by one. So, are you planning on doing like a fast release, or are you just going to do one book to one editor and then publish that book when it's fully ready, and then do that process all over again? Or are you doing like a fast release where one book gets released and 2 weeks later you release another book, kind of thing? There's also that option too for self-publishing authors. I don't know much about the traditional section on that area.
I mean, like, if you had a choice for your book, would you rather, if you could, would you rather actually stick with the self-publishing route, or if you actually traditionally publish, would you traditionally publish?
For me, because I'm a little bit of a control freak and I like to have full control of my stuff, I would stick with the self-publishing route. However, there is a book in my head that I wouldn't mind trying to do the traditional publishing route because it's not a series, it's a standalone. But because most of my books are series, I have a less chance getting published by a traditional publishing house because they prefer standalones versus series. Don't get me wrong, they would publish a series if they're interested in it, but because of my nature and my book series, self-publishing is my best route.
Yeah. Also, I can give you like an example on that, like Kim Chance, because originally Keeper was supposed to be a standalone novel, even though she did have plans for the sequel Seeker. But her publisher, I guess, told her that they wanted to buy the sequel for her book.
Rainy says yes, with books released every 4 months. Cool. Yeah, that is definitely a fast release. Or at least I qualify that as fast release because then since you're publishing the book so close together. For me, self-publishing all the way because I have full control over everything. Yes, I love control of my books. And you can do what you want. Yep, and if you make a mistake, it's on you, not the publishing house. Versus tradition, they tell you what will happen. That is true. You do lose control of your creativity there. If they want the book to end a certain way, you have to probably rewrite the whole book just to match their ending. If they tell you it'll sell better.
Right.
That's,
I mean,
that is the, go ahead.
I mean, I would love to try and be like a hybrid author, but it's just the what Renee is saying is very true, and that kind of scares me a little bit about publishing houses now in the author community.
Yeah, that is true. It does scare people. However, self-publishing is actually getting quite common and quite popular. I can see in the future where traditional publishing is not going to be much of a thing anymore, but self-publishing will take over. I can just see that
Um,
happening.
Classify yourself as an indie author.
Yeah, I never liked that word indie because in Canada, we're not supposed to use the word indie because it's an insult to the natives. So it's gonna take me quite a while to go use the word indie author versus self-publishing because
Yeah,
it was
but
just
what's the difference?
was the word indie for natives and indie for self-publishing.
Mostly for like self-publishing and all that.
Uh, I'm guessing because I'm not 100% sure. Indie means like independent kind of thing because it's per independence because you're controlling your whole book. But because they shorten it to indie, which is a up in Canada is an insult to the native, it's very hard for some people to process that word in a different way.
Okay, I looked it up. Indie author, also called author publishers, any author who self-publishes to sell, who takes publishing seriously, wants to reach as many readers as possible and grow a profitable author publishing business.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's a business and you're being independent. So I just don't like the word indie because where I come from, someone that is native could easily watch my channel and take that as an insult up here in Canada. So I'm very careful on what
Right,
words I use.
right.
That's why you hear self-publishing words more than indie author. However, if I say independent author, I'm fine with that. But then I feel like I'm not insulting anyone.
Right. I mean, I notice a lot of publishers use that term, like Natalia Lee and a lot of other authors use that term. And to a point, I still think that's a little offensive because there's actually culture that is indie, and you don't want to make them feel offensive about that because that's just plain out rude, to be honest, when people classify themselves as an indie author.
Yeah, that's why you hear me use self-publishing instead of that word, because that's exactly what pops into my brain cells.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do a video on like I know I probably might get a little hate on it, but there's just a lot of things in the writing, publishing, and any like all that type of community. I feel like there's a lot of people really don't address it, and it's kind of sad.
That's true. There is a lot of conflict with the self-publishing or with the author community. There is a lot of drama. However, I try to stay out of it as much as
Oh,
possible.
trust me, I've been through it. I try to stay out of it, and it keeps like coming back to me. And it's like, I don't want none of that. Nah. I don't allow it in my personal bubble. So I'm like, stay out of my personal bubble, please. Also, I did have a question. Maybe you could ask after the next sprint, but I forgot what it was.
Uh-oh. I guess the question wasn't very important when it slips the brain cells.
My brain does that all the time. I feel like it's sometimes selective thinking, but I might be wrong.
You never know. So on
So
that
do you feel
note,
like
do we
doing,
want to do another sprint or do we want to keep chit-chatting?
I was about to say a sprint.
How long do we want to go for?
Um, maybe 25 minutes.
Any objections? Not seeing
I was,
any.
I was gonna
Go
be
ahead.
funny and I was gonna be funny and speak for Renee and be like, I object. But I don't see no complaints or anything, so I think we're good.
Neither do I, and I have a cat here who wants to be really, really needy, who's trying to get my hand.
He's like, pet me, please.
Yep. Okay, so we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Happy creativity, everyone. And that was time for our sprint. How did everyone do? Let us know in the comments. I got a chapter finished and I have hit one of my longer chapters, 14 pages long. We'll see how that goes. Fabra, how did you do?
I did pretty good. I got 248 words in, and I actually like what I'm writing right now.
Well, that's awesome.
I mean, I can share a little bit of it to you if you would like.
Sure, only if you want to.
All right, so I can start right here. As he was about to leave the cabin, Thorn was struck down to his knees, feeling the claw digging into the back of his leg. He cried out in pain, knowing he would need to act fast. He moaned in pain, trembling in fear of his daughter's life. He hurried and slid Suki underneath the bed before he felt the intruder dragging him through the cabin. The intruder grabbed him by the back of his neck and pinned him against the fireplace. Breathing on his neck, Thorn caught the scent of what smelled like his brother Salazar. Salazar, Thorn cried out, why would you want to kill your own blood? You are no blood to me, Salazar growled telepathically. You are nothing but rotten meat to me.
Oh, wow. That's
So
really
that's what I
good.
got so far. Thank you.
And Rainy says, yes, I'm listening while trying to get dinner on the table. Cool. And I just finished eating dinner just in time. Awesome, awesome. And the next question is, are you planning on doing a fast release or a slow release? Rainy, I know you kind of answered this one already. With a fast release every 4 months. I am planning on doing a slow release on my books unless there is another book that happens to be ready for publishing within 2 to 3 months. Then that will be probably one of those rare cases where I'll do a fast release. But all depends on when the book is ready to go. I will be doing technically a slower release unless otherwise more than one book is ready to go at the same time. What about you, Sabra?
Um, I'm thinking about kind of like a slow release.
Cool.
Yeah, I really noticed this scene I'm writing. It's getting really intense.
Yeah, it can.
I mean, I know I need to use a little more description in it, but it's okay. I can do that later, or maybe in the next sprint, maybe add a little description. But I was trying to get like the bare idea out so I don't have to worry about it later. But
Well,
if I have to,
well,
I will.
it kind of sounds like an action scene. So there's, I don't normally action scenes I've seen so far don't really have a whole lot of dialogue in it. Like I was having a fantastic time picturing what was going on, but maybe if it was in like a specific room or something, if that's what you're referring
Yeah.
to.
Um, actually, I don't know how to describe it, but this where it's taking place in Salem, Massachusetts in 1640. And basically back in the day, they had historical cabins or log cabins or something like that. And
Yeah.
basically um in this scene, basically Thorn and Meredith are poor. So they don't have a big fancy cabin to live in. They are very poor people. So basically, this cabin is only one bedroom. It fits the bed, the kitchen, uh, basically all the necessities that they need, like a fireplace or a gas stove or something like that. So I'm trying to kind of describe it. I'm trying to kind of picture out what the cabin looks like so I can describe it better.
Yeah. Well, that'd be cool.
And then also, in the book, I'm adding the Salem witch trials to it, but I'm trying to figure out like an idea to kind of make it like I know they did it in the past, but how could I somehow bring it somewhat to the future, into the present, where when Suki grows up, like maybe the humans find out, hey, there's supernaturals among us. Maybe it's a war. I don't know.
Yeah. Because history tends to repeat itself.
That's what I was thinking. Because in this scene, well, the first scene is basically about like introducing everything, and then Thorne witnesses the Salem witch trials. Because I guess back in the day in the 1600s, if you were accused of witchcraft, they would either hang you or they would drown you in a lake. Like they would tie you down to a chair and they would drown you, or they would burn you alive, basically, for the Salem witch trials. And,
Yeah.
and but in this scene, they get hanged, and Thorne witnesses it, and it makes him think of his wife Meredith because she is a witch, and also his brother Salazar set him up, and he claimed his brother to be the murderer of all these civilians and all that. So when he sees the wanted poster, he gets angry. He gets home and he talks to his wife and all that. They do give Meredith does give birth to Suki, and one of the brothers find out with Salazar, and it just takes off from there. And I'm gonna kind of spoil it a little bit. Meredith supposedly dies. That's the only spoiler I'm giving you. And then at the end, Thorne tries to save his daughter, and he runs.
Cool.
That's the prologue.
Rainy's asking, is there a formula to write a fantasy? Um, uh, yes and no kind of answer. I have a book that might help you out. It's called The Fantasy Fiction Formula by Deborah Chester. Um, it's all about how to write fantasy and fantasy fiction formula, so that might help. Um, what do you think about this question, Sambro? I don't know how to answer this one other than that book.
Honestly, with fantasy, I kind of, if I was you, maybe try to look up maybe the genre, kind of do a little bit of research on fantasy. But fantasy, in my perspective, I feel like you can pretty much do anything with it because right now I'm writing an urban fantasy, and basically it's like it's in the present time, but there's supernatural elements in the present time. So basically, what I would say is just try to be creative and kind of search into the fantasy genre. If you need any more tips or help with that, I could probably help after the live stream.
Yeah, definitely read fantasy books if you are planning on writing a fantasy book or fantasy series, because fantasy is such a heavy world building section because you're literally making a world from scratch. It tends to lead to more than one book in the series. Actually, I haven't read any fantasy books that have not led to a series. Have you, Sabra? Like, have you read a standalone fantasy
I
book?
think no, I don't recall. If there is a standalone fantasy, I never heard of it. Normally, I hear them going in the series.
Yeah.
Because I feel like your fantasy genres are more prone to become a series. Cause I think it's kind of hard to keep them as a standalone because the fantasy genre is like Sherry said, it is a big world building process. So I don't think. I mean, you probably could make it a standalone, but it's gonna be a little difficult.
Like maybe if it was like
Because
a
there's
the only thing I can think of that might work for that genre is like a fantasy romance kind of thing. Because romance is pretty good for standalones. I don't know.
yeah.
It all depends on what kind of world you're building on this one.
And also, I think because of like fantasy, there's so much elements to it, and a lot of world building, and I noticed with the high fantasies, you tend to add a lot of characters. And I'm thinking mine's somewhat of a high urban fantasy to a point. I don't know because I do have a lot of characters.
Yeah, there's also that perspective too. Rini says I usually write romance, but I want to do a fantasy at some point. Then definitely read fantasy books. Game of Thrones will qualify as a high fantasy. It will also depend on what kind of fantasy you plan on writing too, because there's different types of fantasy. Like Game of Thrones, high fantasy. There's the Savior's Champion, which is dark fantasy, and then there's Harry Potter, which is a mild fantasy. And then there's the oh yeah, and then there's fantasy mixed with sci-fi. Sci-fi and fantasy are your two heaviest world building genres. So it all depends on what book,
Hmm.
what type of fantasy you're planning on writing. There's a lot goes on with fantasy, but definitely research, world build, cultural. There's a lot to fantasy. It's actually almost 3 videos long to talk about fantasy and how to build it.
I think we would be writing an entire novel about fantasy if we could, because that genre, it's just so big.
It is.
Renee,
Uh,
yeah, you got it.
yes, that is what I'm one to is present time, but special elements. Cool. How do you know how many point of views for fantasy? And again, it would depend on what fantasy area you're going into, but the average point of view for fantasy, like the mellows to the other genres, minus the high fantasy, are normally anywhere between 2 to 4 point of views from what I've noticed. High fantasy tends to go into like 5 and plus.
I heard
Saber, I don't
for
know if
just
you noticed that or if you have any input on this.
from what I heard about point of views for fantasy, I heard it could be 3 to 5. That's what I heard. I mean, you can look it up, but I heard you can have the most is 5 point of views in fantasy.
Yeah. And if you go the traditional publishing route, they don't really like it when you go over 4 point of views. They kind of hesitate on you there.
I, with traditionally publishing, I think they only allow 3.
Yeah, mine say
Cause
3.
yeah,
But if you're self-publishing, then you can kind of go as many as you like, kind of thing.
but it's gonna be a
However,
little
you still gotta be careful on
difficult.
the numbers there.
Yeah, I would
And
find that a little difficult if you had more than 5 point of views. But if you stick around maybe like less than 5 point of views, you should be good. But I mean, if you're doing like a high fantasy, you might be able to add maybe 1 or 2 more point of views. I'm not really for sure. Like one time I was beta reading for Shaylin Bishop for Shaylin Wrights, and she was doing a high fantasy book. It was called The Dragons. I don't remember what it's called, The Dragon's Keeper or something like that. And she had 7 point of views in that book.
yeah, Renee says I have my characters already, so I have like 3 or 4 in mind. Okay. And I'm a self-publishing person because I can't do traditional because I have to do my own deadlines because of my children. That is understandable.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, my best advice is like, I would say this to all authors, stick with self-publishing because like everybody's been saying on the stream, you want to have control of your writing and stuff and do your own deadlines and try to keep up with them. Um, yeah, your children come first and yourself. And I mean, I think self-publishing is the best way to go because you have control and you know, hey, this is what I want to do, and nobody's going to tell me what I want to do with my series if you're going the self-publishing route. You have full control.
Yeah,
So basically, you won't have like any traditional people saying you can have this many point of views or these many characters. I mean, legit, throughout my entire series, I have over 70 characters throughout the entire series, plus spin-offs that uh, some of my characters are going to be going into the spin-off series. So I literally want to make an entire world out of the Plague Wolf. So if I go self-publish, nobody can tell me, hey, this is what you got to do or whatever. Because I'm planning out, let me see, like 5, maybe 6 series that have to do with Plague Wolf alone. So you got the Plague Wolf and then maybe like 5 other projects that goes with Plague Wolf.
yeah, and see, that's with fantasy. Fantasy is a genre that you can easily do a series, even a trilogy, very, very easily because of the amount world building, and you can do the sub series. So that would be very hard to do in the traditional publishing route, but very easy to do in the self publishing route. unless there is a
Right.
traditional publisher here that's gone traditional that would like to make a comment on that, please do.
But yeah, that's like the best advice I could give you, like for urban or for fantasy. I mean, like try to look into the like research of the genre. I mean, if you need help with like word count or anything like that, let me know. I did a little bit of research in the fantasy genre because I knew I was going to be writing a fantasy because and with supernatural elements because I knew I wanted to write a story about that. It might be a diss or something like that, but hey, I love vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. So I'm trying to put a new twist to it. So it's not going to be another Twilight diss or anything like that. So I mean, go where your mind tells you to go. Be creative and also do your research. So you know which path you're going on with the fantasy.
There's two websites I recommend when you're ready to do the research for fantasy is Reader's Digest. They're a really good website to do research on your genre and other writing advice. And the Masterclass, they do a pretty good summary and pretty good information on genres as well. A couple of books I recommend. The Dummies books, I have found a couple books specifically for genres. So, like, if you're brand new to the genre, there's a high possibility that they'll have it, like How to Write Fantasy for Dummies. Not saying that you're done, since that's the title they use, but it's for people that are brand new to it. And the book that I have, The Fantasy Fiction Formula, is highly recommended as well. So those are some reading resources that I can recommend to you. Sabra, do you have any recommendations, locations, or books, websites that pop into your brain cell?
I feel like the only thing I would really recommend if you're doing fantasy is maybe try to read a couple books in that genre to kind of get an idea of what it's like. Um, uh, try reading maybe the Game of Thrones or something like fantasy wise. Even try reading like Keeper by Kim Chan or Jenna Moresi or anybody that you want to read in a fantasy genre to kind of get a feel for it. Because reading will help you sometimes write. And I even learned this from because if you ever heard Stephen King, he says if you want to write, you need to read. So I feel like maybe like reading fantasy books might help you get a taste of what to write maybe give you some ideas. I yeah.
So I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions, just let us know. So on that note, do we want to do another sprint or do we want to keep chit chatting?
Yeah, and Renee, feel free to text me. We can do another sprint, and also I was saying, Renee, feel free to contact me, and I will soon enough I will be doing because Renee did request me to do a video on how to do vlog stuff, so I'm gonna be doing that, and then also, I'm doing a desk tour and basically an introduction to my channel and all that. So, like I said, Renee, feel free to text if you need help with anything.
Awesome. And if anybody has any questions, just message us or write it in the comments or in the comments below, and I will get back to you guys. If you do it below, I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. So on that note, how long do we want to go for a sprint for? Rainy says cool.
If you get a hold of me,
Pardon?
if you guys need to get a hold of me or Sherry, make sure you contact us on our links in the description.
I will be adding Sabra's information down below in this next sprint.
Oh, I was just saying, like, if anyone needs to get back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know if my stuff was in the description or not. I am so sorry.
That is a-okay. I'll be doing that on this sprint. I normally do that in advance, but clearly that did not sunk into the brain cells until you reminded me. So on that note, do we feel like doing a 20-minute sprint or
Sherry,
longer
am I
or
lagging
shorter?
a little
This
bit?
live stream will be going for more than 2 hours.
Hold on a minute. I'm gonna text Sherry. I think I'm lagging.
Okay? So we'll go for 20 minutes. We'll start. Pardon?
Hey Sherry,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
Am
I
I
don't hear a
lagging?
beeping sound.
Oh, that was my phone. It's like every time I say your name, my phone will pop up because I have an iPhone. So every time I say Sherry, it thinks it's Siri.
Really says I'm game for anything. I can't tell because your cameras are off. I do this on a regular basis now because I get less inappropriate comments when I don't have my face showing on live streams. So is everyone
Alrighty, I'm
a-okay?
ready.
Alrighty. We'll start in 3, 2, 1. Happy creativity, everyone. And that was time for our sprint. How did everyone do? I'm currently working on a side project to send to Sabra as soon as I figure that out. How did you do?
Um, I'm a little I'm a little ashamed of this, but I hardly got anything done because my dogs were distracting me and they were being so cute and yeah, I know, but still.
Hey, your pets, your fur babies want some attention. They always win. I have a cat who is staring at me right now.
Yep. When it comes to riding on my animals, it's like the animals always win. And I'm like, oh man, I can't resist. They're just so cute. I love my fur babies. I love them so much. But I also love
I,
riding.
yep.
Aw.
Hey, Rini says, say what? And my response was, I'm a little
Hey,
confused on
Sherry.
the say what comment, which I honestly was.
I don't mean to cut this short, but I'm probably gonna hop off of here
Okay, did you
and
want to do your little
probably
outro?
start getting for bed and all that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Did you want to do your little outro here?
Yeah. Again, my name is Sabra Millsap. I am an urban fantasy writer and a blogger and all that stuff. If you want to reach me, my links are down below. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me or Sherry. And thank you for letting me co-host on your live stream, Sherry.
You are welcome, and all her links are definitely down below. I made sure of that one this time. Thank you for joining.
All right, I will hear. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night. Rainy says, I was just curious why y'all have your cameras off. For me, it's because of tech issues and I get a lot of inappropriate comments when I have my camera on. So I technically used to have my camera on all the time, and I noticed the inappropriate comments, and now because tech issues, mostly my camera does work on and off. However, if even if it does work for me, I tend not to use the camera part of my camera because I do get a lot of inappropriate comments. and because of how I look, I don't look like my age, so that encourages a lot of people to make even more inappropriate comments. So I tend to get a lot of those. So with just the audiobook, with just the thumbnail, because the makeup does make me look older than what I really am, I get less inappropriate comments. In fact, I actually haven't received any inappropriate comments since I started just going straight audio, not audio thumbnails. So unfortunately, you guys won't be seeing my actual face on live streams. And if you do, it will probably be because it's a book release and I'm celebrating it. Um, and I'll be keeping a real close eye on the comments to make sure no inappropriate comments come in. And if they do, they automatically get blocked. Mia saying cute puppy, and Saber saying Jasmine said hi first. Now I'm trying to get Bella to say hi. Rainy says, really? I'm sorry to hear that. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. So that is my downfall. Well, not really, but it happens. Rainy says, so cute. Rainy also says, I have a pet and a chihuahua. Ooh. Saber says, thank you. She also says, sorry I'm not getting much work done. You know how pets are. They have their head on my lap like, are you done yet? Will you pet me? Are you done yet? Can I have a treat? Yes, even my cat does this one too, especially with books. Never fails. You'll lie down on top of the book like, okay, you're done reading now. Pet me. You're giving the book more attention than me. And Rini says, my kids do that. Laugh out loud. Sabra says, yep, they do grow up so fast. Babies and fur babies. Yes, they do. And Jasmine is Pit Lamb and Beagle, and Bella is Elk Lamb and Shepherd. We are thinking they might have the same mom, but different dads. That is an entirely possibility. And well, they are cute. And Sabra saying thank you. And my question for tonight is, because I'm planning on doing the live stream for at least another hour, have you learned something new today? I'm just learning how to do something right now. I'm going to be sending Sabra some pictures. And I know how to do that on my tablet, but I'm going to try to learn how to do it through my laptop, with the Instagram Messenger. Gonna see if I can do it that way. If not, I'll have to do it for the tablet. So I'm going to learn how to do that. So that is something new for me. Let me know. And then we'll do a sprint for we'll do 30 minutes this round. We'll start in 3, 2, 1. Happy creativity, everyone. And that was time for our sprint. How did everyone do? Let me know in the comments. I've actually changed projects. I went from editing to beta reading because I'm planning on going to bed soon. So I don't, oh no. So I don't have any more questions. So this will be the final sprint. And this will be roughly probably like 20 minutes long, depending on if there's any comments. So I'll give that a few minutes. So I'm not seeing any new comments, so we're just gonna hop into our final sprint, and it will be for 20 minutes. And we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Happy creativity, everyone! And that was time. How did everyone do? I almost got a chapter read, and I have to figure out how to send pictures to Sabra through Canva, but I will do that in the morning when I am more awake. So I'm going to finish this chapter off, but not here. And then I'll probably call it a day. So I'm not seeing any new comments. I'm going to end this stream here. Thank you for watching. Click the like button, leave a comment down below, and click the notification button, subscribe button, to get notified of all my posts. I'm currently only posting once a week. However, I'm hoping it will go back to normal schedule where I post Wednesdays to Saturdays, and I try to do live streams every single day. And I upload bonus videos all the time, so definitely click that bell icon to get notified of all my posts. Follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and Facebook. You can also find me on Discord. Come join the Creative Server Discord group. There you get to meet new people, learn new things, help each other out, and join a book club if you like. All links are down below, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, stay true to yourself and stay unique. Bye.